Welcome everybody to Cover 1. I am your host, James Bouligny. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Paul Harris and Ryan Chadwick. Guys, how we doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Doing good, man.
Week 8. Week 8, yeah. We got some great matchups for you guys. Before we get into any of it, though, we're going to hear a quick word from Kicking Cuts. Looking for a fresh cut without breaking the bank? Well, Kicking Cuts is now open at 4238 Sherwood Way. Haircuts start at $19 for kids and $22 for adults. They offer hot towels, beard detailings, multiple discounts, and they also sell hard-to-find hair care products. Kicking Cuts is locally owned, and they're ready to get you looking sharp at an affordable price. Kicking Cuts, located at 4238 Sherwood Way in San Angelo. All right, into some matchups for this week. I said all right again. I'm sorry. I keep saying it every time we come back. But Chadwick, Central took a loss last week to Midland Lee. This week they got Odessa Permian. They're traveling to Ratliff Stadium. What do we know?
Man, talk about a gauntlet to start out district, But last week, the Bobcats just kind of ran out of gas against Midland Lee, Like it was a back-and-forth matchup. Central gave up a turnover here and then a kickoff return for a touchdown there, and then they missed a field goal. And then despite that, they stayed in the game. They got an interception of their own to come back. It was tied for a while, but in that third quarter, Central missed a field goal and then just couldn't really, keep up after that. So Coach Smith said it great on Monday. He said we just kind of ran out of steam, And so when you score 42 points in a district game against a team, that should be enough points to win out of an offense. But the defense just wasn't up to the task last week. I don't know if it was scheming issues or what. I'm not taking anything away from Midland Lee. They are athletic, they are fast, and they proved it, But we need to see a much better defensive performance because this week, Bobcats got mojo. This is a rivalry game. No one in San Angelo likes anyone from that school. No one at Permian likes Central either. Permian is 5-1 this year, so let's just get that out there. They beat Abilene High by 2 touchdowns. Central lost to Abilene High by 3 touchdowns. So I don't like comparing those two games as much just because week 1 games are weird. But that's their only common opponent, and Permian has taken care of business, Their only loss has been to a Metroplex school, and they have a very talented passing game. I think his name's Jacob Garcia. He's their quarterback. He has almost 1,300 yards passing already this season. Gavin Black still exists. He is their running back still. He has 600 yards on the year. So Central's going to have their hands full defensively. So I said it in my preview. Listen to Coach Smith say it on Monday, and I'm going to say it again. Central has to play perfect football or near perfect football. They can't be having penalties. They can't be having turnovers, and they need to have an efficient offense. That doesn't mean you have to score every time you have the ball, but you need to grind time of possession. You need to control field position, and you got to help your defense out, especially when you're playing an explosive offense like Permian. And I know for a fact this would mean a lot for the entire Bobcat alumni fandom, all of San Angelo, if we beat Odessa Permian, because that's something we always want to do. But it's going to be difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. I picked Permian to win this district preseason, but if Central wants to challenge for a shot at a share of the district title or the outright title at this point, they have to win on Friday.
All right. I can tell you're upset about – I can tell you don't like Permian, Chadwick.
Yeah, what? Rivals, man. It's a rivalry. It is what it is. I'm a Central Bobcat myself, so we never want to lose those guys, just like those guys never want to lose to us, And we like talking, and I think this is one of the true still existing really old school rivalries. I know we have a rivalry with Abilene High, but it's not quite the same as Odessa Permian, just because of how prominent Permian was in the past.
How many points did Central put up against Midland Lee?
42.
42. You should win games you put up 42 points.
Yeah, not if you give up 58, though.
No, not if you give up 58. So the defense, I agree, needs to step up and at least contain.
Yeah, well, they're going to score. That's the thing. Permian's going to score. They're that talented on offense this year. But you just got to stop them a couple times, that's probably Permian's game plan. Central has a premier offense at this point. No one's stopping the Bobcats. You just have to stop them a couple times, And if you start turning the ball over or you make special team mistakes, that's when you lose football games.
Absolutely. Moving on, Lakeview is on a bye week this week. Much needed bye week, much needed rest for the Chiefs before they start district. They have a very winnable district this year, I believe. Andrews is down. Big Spring is, I think, the next team I think they're like 3-3-1, right?
I think
Or
Big
two?
Spring's 4-2 maybe.
Four,
They may
okay.
have had a game canceled because of weather early.
Okay. All right. So very winnable district for Lakeview. But on a bye week, get some rest, come back, go win district.
They need a couple of their injured defensive guys back. You could tell over the last couple of weeks, excluding the Brownfield game, that was a great win for the Chiefs. But they need those guys back on defense, and we should see a different looking Chiefs defense than we did against, Burnett and Levelland.
All right. Moving on, the Wall Hawks travel up 87 to Big Spring, take about 10 minutes on I-20 to Coahoma. They play the Bulldogs this week. Coahoma beat Grape Creek last week. It was anybody's game, really, up until the last, quarter. They tried to kick, tried to put the game out of reach. They missed the kick. Grape Creek got the ball, couldn't drive the field, turned it over on downs, and Coahoma ended up winning that one. But I don't think Wall's going to have a problem with Coahoma. What do y'all think?
I said it once a couple weeks ago, and I'll say it again. I'm not worried about Coahoma, especially after how the Hawks responded to all the noise that was going around after 2 pretty down weeks for the Hawks, considering I know they ended up blowing those teams out. But Merkel was 5-1 entering this matchup, Paul. Wall blew them out. With that being said,
I will say another slow start by the Hawks.
Yes, that's what I was going to get at. At practice yesterday, I talked to Coach Slaughter, and that's what he said. I was like, outside of strapping a rocket to these kids out of the gate, what do we have to do? And he's like, I have several ideas. He's like, I don't know if we're willing to try anything at this point, but I basically got onto him, and I said, we have to start fast in this game. What do you think, Paul?
I mean, I guess we can nitpick because of the slow starts, but I mean, they ultimately put up 63, and Landon York looked pretty dang good. 7 touchdown passes.
Pretty
only
surgical on that one.
7 incompletions. I'm not too concerned about it. I mean, I guess it's a little troubling, I guess, but ultimately they've really been impressive, and they're not. I don't want them to see them hitting their peak just yet. I'd like to see them keep on building, and plus, I really think they're stressing the run game too. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe they're not being as explosive as they could be because they want to get that run game going, and they have such a great defense too. Yeah. But ultimately, I mean, what looked like maybe on paper 6-0 versus 5-1, maybe a tough test. They won by 50, and I think they probably win by 30 or 40 again this week. With no disrespect to Coahoma, who's had a great start, 6-1, and some good wins. Albany and Wink.
Yeah, so we can't say because Grape Creek historically has struggled, but hey, they played them tough. Darrell West broke out a big run to kick the game off. Coahoma came out and answered right away. Then Grape Creek answered right back. We can't say Coahoma's a bad football team when we've been talking about the good teams they've beaten already, regardless of what classification those teams are. Wink and Albany are consistent contenders every year. So, and Coahoma beat both of them. They're a good football team. Can't write them off. I know, Chadwick, you said
I'm not worried about Coahoma.
Wall doesn't have to worry about it, but Wall does have to worry about it. Wall needs to get started correctly. They need to do the things they do right. Like I said, I know we're extra critical of Wall, but that's because Wall expects excellence, and that's what everybody wants for the Hawks. If they want to make a state run, they have to clean up at the beginning of the football game and get started correctly.
I want to see the Wall defense hold another opponent to under 10 points again. I know that they're only averaging 9.1 points a game right now, which is still under that 10-point mark, but I want a dominant defensive performance from start to finish by Wall's defense. And I don't know, I know they've been playing some pass-happy schools, and so that secondary is getting a lot of work, and that'll do nothing but prepare them for guys like Canadian and Gunter. But that's what I want to see this week. I want to see the offense come out explosive, not just scoring on drives. I want to see one first down, second down, back to a first down. Chunk plays. I want to see them score, and I want to see them score dominantly.
All right. Before we move on to our second string of games, we're going to hear a quick word from Angelo MRI.
Have you ever needed an MRI? Do you know someone that needs an MRI? And did you know that you have a choice? When your doctor orders an MRI, tell them that you choose Angelo MRI. The founders of Angelo MRI started Angelo MRI when they faced the high cost of MRIs from traditional medical facilities. That's why Angelo MRI offers a better way. A high-quality MRI for just $5.95. And Angelo MRI accepts all insurance, saving you time and money. It's your health, your money, and your choice. Angelo MRI, 4114 South Jackson in San San Angelo or look them up at angelomri.com. Remember, when your doctor orders an MRI, tell them that you choose Angelo MRI.
All right, we are sending our man Ernesto to Christoval. Reagan County is playing Christoval this week. Reagan County kind of took one last week against Ozona. Ozona's kind of a super team this year with Christian Villarreal back there. The record is obviously within reach for him, not out of the conversation. But this should be a very competitive game for those other spots in the playoffs coming out of that district. What do y'all think?
I mean, yeah. Like I think this is a good opportunity for Reagan County to try to right the ship a little bit. But like that's not throwing any shade at Christoval, especially with the new coaching staff out there. They're just trying to put things together.
Yeah, I think Sonora and Ozona are clearly the top two teams in the district. I think it's kind of wide open for third. I mean, this game could go a long way towards either one of these teams, getting the 3 seed. But I really don't see a ton of separation right now between them and then C-City. And I mean, C-City has struggled in recent years. Maybe they've got something to prove still. And then Forsan. But I really think nothing would surprise me too much with these other 4. And Sonora and Ozona are just that far out in front,
Speaking of Sonora and Ozona, that's where I'm heading this week, down to visit the Broncos and the Lions. I talked to both coaches this week, and I think what Weston tries to say, hey, man, we're just going to have fun with it. I just told you guys have fun. Segura can obviously throw the ball really well. Jaden Wilborn has played extremely well for them. Defensively, they got a sophomore lead, Coronado leading their defense and tackles. They kind of mirror each other on defense. I feel like their defense is kind of evenly matched. Where it's going to matter is that offense is going to be – Sonora's offense has to put up points to keep up with Ozona because Christian Villarreal has proved in every game this year that he is extremely difficult to defend against. What do y'all think?
I mean, I think what's interesting is, it's a district title game, and I don't remember a district title game being overshadowed by one player. And Villarreal, what he's doing is just that special. I mean, 2,000 yards in 6 games – that's incredible. He's really chasing history. And so as big of a game this is 6-0 Ozona, 5-1 Sonora. I mean, all eyes are going to be on Villarreal and seeing what he can do. And can Sonora possibly slow him down? And nobody's done it yet. I'll believe it when I see it. But I mean, 230 has been his lowest number all year. So what he's doing, I mean, I think a lot of people around the state are kind of taking notice, of his chase of history.
Well, Brady, that was against Brady. Brady has a pretty good a good size up front for him. And speaking of up front, one thing we can't really shade away from is, yes, Villarreal is having this tremendous year. That offensive line deserves just as much credit as Villarreal does for his season. Being able to block for him, open up holes for him. I think they average 280 across the line or something like that. They're big up front for a big 2A, especially just a 2A. They're big. So I think Jason Pitts kind of fell into just the perfect type of situation where you had a running back you could always hand off to. And it's not like they're handing it off to him 30 times a game. If they wanted, he'd have 3,000 yards by now if they handed it to him, 20, 30 times a game. Yeah, he's only getting about 15 to 17 times a game.
Right.
And we talked about, obviously, they scored 94 against Reagan County. It's not that you want to do that to your opponent, but you can't just not let your best player get carries. You have to let him get carries. You have to let him get that experience. Because if you don't, he's going to hit the playoffs, and all of a sudden, he's just not going to, he won't produce like you expect him to.
Well, his body won't be in shape either. I do think that there is some credence to only limiting him to 15 to 17 because it's going to keep him healthy. But you do have to let that body adjust throughout the season, and the more carries you get, the more ready your body's going to be. To a certain point, once you enter the 25 to 30 range, that's when you're like, uh-oh, is he breaking down now? But I think the coaching staff out there is taking really good care of him. So he's still on pace. He could break it, So let's see what he's got this weekend.
I did bring up the record to Pitts, and they obviously know about it. And he did say, look, if we get within 15 yards of this, record or whatever, we're not going to not handle the ball. We're going to let him get it. So that'll be special, should that happen. But he needs to have a decent game against Sonora and good games throughout the rest of the regular season, and then he's going to need some good games in the playoffs in order to hit that record, I think.
That's what gets tricky, too, because we're talking about the playoffs.
You're not guaranteed, yeah.
Yeah, the team's success is obviously going to come first, and I'm sure Villarreal will feel the same way. And they don't
He does.
have an easy
No, he does.
playoff road.
He gives all the credit to his offensive line and the coaching staff and the team. I mean, he's one of those types of. He is a team player.
Right. They draw Cisco in the first round. I mean, there's just no guarantee they're going to walk right through them, So
No,
as well as they
absolutely.
played,
That's
it's
a
gonna be
tough district to
road.
play once you hit the playoffs.
Well, and even if they win that one, it just gets tougher from there.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
D-lines get bigger, linebackers get meaner,
Yep. And then Stanton and Grape Creek. Again, Grape Creek dropped their first game to Coahoma, but they weren't out of it the entire game. So Grape Creek is a good football team. What do y'all have to say?
Man.
I kind of want to hear John to say.
It's a must-win game. They've got to win this. Because it's 5-team district, 4 get in. If they slip up, they've got Wall and Merkel left. So they showed what they're capable of. Stanton's 1-5, 1-6. They've got 3 losses by a touchdown or less. So they're not as bad as their record might look. They won 6 games last year. So and they beat Grape Creek last year. So Grape Creek's got to take them seriously. They got to take care of business. And if they do that, they're still in the running, for the 3 seed. If they can beat Merkel, they can still get in with the 3 seed and have a real chance of winning their first playoff trophy ever.
Man, I will say I picked Great Creek to finish second during the preseason, and I really thought that they had Coahoma last week. So that was a bit disappointing for me, but I am so happy for those Great Creek fans out there. I think Coach Teal has done a fantastic job. We just need to see results now, because at the end of the day, Coach Smith for the Bobcats said it best last Friday after the loss. Is like, at the end of the day, like, you can improve all you want, but it's about winning. If you want to get into the playoffs, if you want to start pursuing district championships, if you want to bring some prestige to your program, it's more about than just playing hard. So I want to see Great Creek go out there and win, and not just win by a couple scores. Like they've done it already to some of their non-district opponents this season. Let's see them do it again.
Well, and that was one thing that I noticed, is that their defense did their job. The defense did their job holding Coahoma back. You gave up a punch return touchdown, and your quarterback threw an interception that returned for a touchdown. Got turned to a defensive player at that point, make that tackle. You make those 2 tackles, that game ends differently. So you're 2 tackles away from possibly winning that game. You just got to tighten the ship up a little bit. All 3 phases of the game have to be playing in sync with each other. And when we come back, we're going to talk about our players of the week. Before I do, here's a word from Shelburne Financial. At Shelburne Financial, you are more than just a number. They will help you plan for retirement, prepare tax documents, and more. Whether you're looking to grow your savings or plan for your future, the experienced team at Shelburne Financial is here to help you and guide you every step of the way. Give them a call at 944-9447 or head over to 3177 Executive Drive and invest in your future. All right, we have 2 players of the week like we did last week. Chadwick, you want to talk about the first one?
Yeah, I was in attendance for this game. It's going to be the first Central Bobcat on our Player of the Week honors for this season. It's Colton Hill, wide receiver for the Central Bobcats. He had 10 catches for 207 yards and 2 touchdowns. Crazy part is, most of that work was done in the first half. He was pretty much unstoppable. His 2 touchdown catches were highlight reels in themselves. Completely covered on both of them, and he just out-jumped the guy and was just proved to be the better player in that situation. Not to mention, when Central needed a play, there was a couple 3rd and longs. There was a 4th down that he converted as well. He got into open space, and it was like, good luck catching him type thing. So, we haven't had a Bobcat yet, and so I'm glad a Bobcat finally makes our list, but congratulations, Colton Hill.
We also haven't had a Wall Hawk yet. Paul, you want to introduce the next one? Yeah,
Landon York is our MVP. They all COVER1 team last year, and he's been awesome, and he was just efficient, 23 of 30 for 387 yards and 7 touchdowns in that route of Merkel. And dual threat, he also had 3 yards rushing. So
massive 3 yards.
He doesn't take off too much. He just doesn't have to, but he apparently can run a little bit if he needs to. So Landon York, we knew what he brought to the table, and it was hard to separate him and Colton Hill. So I think it's fair for them to share the honor.
Yeah,
we'll mention, of course, Christian Villarreal.
Oh yeah, he had 296. That was pretty good.
Another honorable mention: Micah Smith threw for over 400.
I will say I left the El Dorado Iran game to make it to the Wall game, and when I got there, it was already like 56-13, and York is already off the field, and It's like, man, I didn't even get any highlights of them.
Yeah, hats off to El Dorado for a huge win over Iran.
Maybe we need to highlight that too. They were down 20 points at one point, 20-0, and it looked like Iran was going to run away with it. And the El Dorado said no way. The Eagles said no way, and fought back into it. We're winning at one point, and then at halftime, Iran had scored again, so they were down. And then it was a back and forth battle. El Dorado wins that one, 45-42. Great win by the Eagles there, and puts them in a really good spot hitting the playoffs. You beat Wink, you could be district champs. Keep playing hard, guys, and you will get that gold ball.
We can't stress enough how important those district wins are for playoff seeding too. You don't have to play district winners that first round, so keep winning.
Absolutely. I remember the last couple times they played Albany in the first round, and that was when Albany had Adam Hill on the Texas Tech player now.
At one point, the Big 12's leading rusher.
Speaking of Texas Tech, we're here from the ArcLight, and then we'll get into some college football. Catch all the collegiate and pro football action at the ArcLight Bar and Grill, located at 441 Rio Concho Drive, inside the Clarion Hotel in downtown San Angelo. All right, Chadwick, you were at the Tech-Kansas game last week. This week they got Arizona State. What do you know?
Man, get a little ahead of yourself, bro. I got to talk about my Angelo State Rams first. Homecoming week, brother. Homecoming week.
I talked with Kimberly Adams about it.
Yeah, Angelo State needs to win. They've dropped 2 in a row. That's not very Gersh-like. That's not very Angelo State Rams-like. The defense has struggled. Brandon Fuller's back from injury, but he's not quite 100% yet. So I want to see the Rams with a bounce-back game. Because right now they're in danger of not even making the playoffs if they drop another one, and they still have their hardest game on their schedule. But Midwestern State has struggled this year at times, so I do think ASU bounces back on this one. Moving on. What you were asking about, Texas Tech absolutely obliterated Kansas last weekend to the point where the head coach of Kansas decided he wanted to cry about it, make up all these lies, and get his school fined. So apparently Texas Tech's crowd isn't allowed to have fun unless they want the opposing team's coach to claim that we're throwing knives at them. But anyway, number 7, Texas Tech travels to Temp to play Arizona State. Arizona State comes off a bad loss to Utah last week, fell out of the rankings. They might have Sam Levitt back. We don't know yet. If they don't have him back, good luck, Sun Devils. We are going to crush you.
Reel it in now, Chadwick.
Moving on to number 21, Texas. They're back in the rankings after a big win over Oklahoma last week. Say what you want, John Mateer was not ready to play, and the Texas defense was good enough to prove that. Texas destroyed Oklahoma. They travel to and play at Kentucky this week. Kentucky's nothing special in the SEC this year. I do expect Arch Manning and company to get another dominant win. We'll see Texas squeak up in the rankings just a little bit more. Finally, the top-ranked team in Texas, we have number 4 Texas A&M traveling to Arkansas. This could be a trap game for the Aggies. Arkansas is one of those teams, they have a lot of losses this year. I think they're up to 4 losses now, but a lot of those losses have been by 7 points or less. I do want to see Texas A&M run the ball better. Their passing game looks electric at times, but they are a team that plays up to the team they're playing's competition level, whether that be Notre Dame or whether that be some FCS school. So haven't seen the Aggies win dominantly yet. Would like to see it against Arkansas. We'll see. If A&M wants to compete for an SEC championship and a national championship, they got to start winning more dominantly, and that's college football.
All right, into final thoughts. I'm going to this Sonora-Ozona game. Can anybody contain Christian Villarreal? Sonora has quietly had a very successful season. They're 5-1. They're not pushovers by any means. There are people around town saying, "Oh, y'all aren't going to win, 3 games this year," and they've already exceeded those expectations. I'd like to see how they contain Christian Villarreal. I'm going to go ahead and say take the under 300 yards on Christian Villarreal. I know that's sacrilegious, but I'm going to give Sonora defense some credit. I think they're going to contain him pretty well. I think they watched that Brady game and they're like, all right, we're gonna do kind of what they did. What do y'all think?
If you want to be brave, why not say take the under 250?
I'm not that brave.
Because you're scared, yeah.
I'm not that brave.
I will take the over on that. I say he gets 320.
All right, Paul. Your final thoughts?
Final thought on Villarreal,
or just overall?
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I think that they could be the first team to maybe hang with him since Brady just a little bit, and so maybe he'll need to be used all the way to the fourth quarter. We'll see, But I think I'd probably take the over 300. I just think we're seeing something really special, and I think it's going to continue.
I'm not slighting the kid or the
Yeah.
offensive line at all. I mean, I went down there for his 2A award that he got from Built Ford Tough, and I think Sonora is going to game plan for that. But you also cannot outrule that quarterback who's gotten it done when he's had to. Michael Preddy has had a decent season for him down there when he's had to throw the ball. So, I mean, I think he's got 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, so he's been pretty good.
Yeah, he really has, and I feel bad because, I mean, they'll have kids that have 90-yard game and just totally overshadowed by Villarreal, you know. I mean, so, again, the line has done such a good job. Whoever's been back there has produced, you know. So, try to get those kids mentioned. It's just tough, man. You're just going to get overshadowed by the beast right now.
I think their defense, Caleb Ramos, I think that's his name, linebacker, sophomore for him, leads him in tackles. He's played outstanding for him on defense. So let's see how he works Segura and everybody. I'm excited for it. It's going to be a great matchup. I'm excited for it. And this has been Cover 1 pregame show.
And do I not get a final thought?
I thought you already had your final thought.
What was my
final
final
thought? You took
thought?
the over.
That's not a final thought. That was commenting on your. All right. Anyway, my final thought. I have a very nervous weekend of football coming up. The Central Permian game, classic rivalry. I want to see my Bobcats play well. And honestly, man, I'm super nervous about Texas Tech at Arizona State.
You think it's a trap game?
I don't think it's a trap game. I just think Arizona State's good if Sam Levitt's healthy. So, Temp's a really hard place to play. So, that's my final thought.
All right.
Thanks, James.
You're welcome. I gave you some time. This has been Cover 1 Week 8 pregame show for James.